Buenos dias. All right, here we go. That's right. Seat concepts, low seat for the DR650. Yeah, so I'm gonna do a follow-up video to this one where I compare this seat with the ProCycle seat as well as the stock seat, so we can actually get some tangible evidence, you know, it's like how they differ. But I'm kind of pressed for time right now. I need to get this on the bike, which is, it's really simple. So I've removed, of course, the stock seat, or I'm not, sorry, the ProCycle seat's right there. And it's really easy. There's a slot right here, there, to get the seat on. Can only do so much with two hands, but should have no issues with this. There we go. And she's on. I just got to put the bolts on, and we're gonna go for a ride. This is why I'm pressed for time, because like it's 109 degrees right now here in southwestern Utah. I can't ride at all during the day. It's just absolutely miserable. I mean, I can ride, but it sucks. It sucks bad. So the sun's not up yet, so I want to get this seat on, and I want to go ride it for a bit to see how this is going to either improve or, you know, make the ride worse. I don't know. So we're gonna give this a shot. All right, looks like we're ready to go. I do have a tank bag on. It sits a bit on the seat, but I'm not sitting right there anyway. We'll see how this all pans out. Let's do this. So I'm not used to obviously this seat, but I'm used to kind of sitting far back on a seat, and I was a little concerned about that uptick in material, you know. And I like to move around in my seat, so I'm gonna have to, I guess I'm gonna have to learn to just sit in the depression, I guess. But this seat is 1 inch and 1/8, inch and an eighth lower than stock seat, so that's given me some better reach when I come to a stop with the bike. I'm not on my tippy toes anymore because it's a pretty tall bike. Got a stop sign right here, as a matter of fact. Yeah, so now while I'm on the bike, I'm almost flat-footed when I come to a stop. So that's interesting. That's good. And another thing I want to point out is that it's a low seat. So I've already got the lowered foot pegs on my bike here. I keep looking down. It's like it's not going to show anything, so I'm just going to keep my eyes forward on the road and talk about it. Highly recommended to have lowered foot pegs if you put this seat on your bike, because it's going to get a little more cramped, especially with my knees. So the idea of getting this seat is mainly for off-road use. And you may be wondering, what is, I don't understand why, what's the point of that? So the ProCycle seat is an excellent seat. It's very wide. I believe it's 10.5 inches, maybe it's 11 inches. I can't remember right off the top of my head, but it's very wide, much wider than stock. And I will do 200, 300, 400, 500 mile rides, you know, in a day on this bike sometimes. And it's that seat is very accommodating for that type of riding. However, the one caveat that I always talk about with that particular bike, or that seat I should say, is the fact that it's so wide. It's wide when it goes out up towards the tank, and it's impeding my standing when I'm off-road, and that's a big deal. because I'll go way deep in the desert with this bike, and as you well know, once you're off-road, you gotta stand, man. Especially if you get into any type of inclement terrain, I should say. Now, I'm not out there jumping ditches or stuff like that. I'm just talking about if you get into anything, you got to stand. So that's become a big problem for me, uncomfortable. And as I take this bike longer and longer on off-road trips, I got to deal with that. So I figured with the seat concepts, I know that they make the seat itself a lot more narrow towards the front where the gas tank, where your legs are going to be most impacted. And I can tell you right now, I can stand with the seat comfortably. Like, it's almost like stock. Not quite, but almost. We got some clouds, very nice. Hopefully it'll keep that sun covered for a little while longer. So what I'm going to do today is I'm just going to take the bike on the ride for, I don't know, 30 something miles on the road, maybe longer, and then a nice stretch of dirt. And we're going to see how the seat adds up to comfort, you know. I think the width of the seat is like 9.5, the seat concepts I'm talking about here. So I don't know, that lump, that part where it goes up, it's like that's exactly where I'm pushed up into. So I'm gonna have to learn to ride a little more tucked in here. And it's gonna keep me in one spot for an extended amount of time. That's not exactly what I'm used to doing. I'm used to moving around, squirming around in the seat quite a bit. So I'm gonna have to keep my hands in my lap and sit still, I guess. Yeah, I can tell you there's quite a big difference now, especially with shifting gears. I'm pretty cramped. Not overly cramped, but pretty cramped. I guess I could just push back and sit on the passenger seat while I'm out doing this, you know, where it's not like dangerous. This isn't bad, but it is what it is. I'll have to learn to deal with it. It reminds me of the Himalayan, the seat on the Himalayan that my wife has. Oh well. I was a little concerned about that rise, the rear part of the seat. Yeah, it's made a huge difference when I come to a stop. I can, literally almost flat foot the bike now. That's good off-road, you know. Not bad. Oh man, yeah. Minus the construction, it is fantastic morning, beautiful out there. Ah, the dirt. We are here. All right, so excuse me, 20 miles. 20 miles on the pavement, not too bad. Excuse me, 300-mile day on this seat. Strictly on-road riding might be a chore. Well, for me anyway. However, we're not focusing on that right now. We're focusing on how it is on the dirt, which means I'm not going to be sitting. And will I have comfort while standing? Meaning, will my legs not be pushed out? And that's a yes, man. It's still pushing my legs out just slightly, but nothing. It's completely at the other end of the spectrum compared to the Pro Cycle seat. This is doable. And what I mean by doable is doable on the Pro Cycle seat. However, this is doable for an extended amount of time. Like, I'm back to feeling comfortable that I can maneuver with the bike. This is much better. This will make off-road riding on this bike significantly that much better, and that's important. It's very important because 100 miles in the desert, that's a long time to be riding in the dirt. And I can always sit on the back, squish up, whatever. I can move however I want on the dirt. But more importantly is, can I stand for a long period of time? So this stretch of dirt, it goes, I don't know, maybe 10 miles or so. I'm a straight 20 when I hit it. We'll see. That's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to stand for the majority of the time and see how it compares. I'm just going to ride this down and then back and go back the way I came, because there's road construction in the opposite direction, and I don't feel like sitting in the sun waiting for the sign to turn, if you know what I mean. All right, 5 miles in on the dirt, and I can definitively say that this seat makes standing almost the same as with the stock seat, meaning that I'm not being pressed out, my legs that is. And this definitely, I can hold on to the bike with my legs, you know what I'm saying? Not quite as good as stock seat, but, and when I mean not quite as good, I mean not, I can't. I want to be clear here, the stock seat, there ain't nothing good about the stock seat on a DR650. That thing's a torture device. I just mean as far as my legs being pressed out by the seat. So with the stock seat, you're not being pressed out. It's that thin, or I should say narrow. So I'm, this will work. I like the lowness of it. I like being able to flat foot the bike. However, I'm not too keen on that hump on the seat. It's I like being able to move around, and it kind of keeps you in one spot. And I feel like the pressure's like on my tailbone. That's not good. So I'm not sure. Not sure just yet. But I can say that riding while standing is fantastic. That's what I'm looking for. I stopped and moved the tank back up a little higher. Maybe that's going to make a difference. I felt like I was like pressing into my chest when I was riding, but like I said, this is working out very well while standing. Okay, sun's up. Time to get back on the bike. Oh yeah, moving that tank back up actually did make a little bit of difference. I had it a little low there. Hold on. What am I missing? The gloves. Come on, baby. Yeah, okay. That made a big difference, moving that tank bag up. So I can flat foot the bike right now while I'm navigating some of this, you know, because I'm on a slope. I've never been able to flat foot this bike. This is pretty incredible, I gotta be honest with you. Wow. All right, we're gonna keep on down the dirt. Okay, I'm like, now I'm sitting, it's not pressing into my tailbone because I'm not pushing back. Oh, okay, that made a big difference, moving that bag out of the way. This is what I'm after right here, baby. Oh, I can stand. Yeah, that's a big difference compared to the Pro Cycle seat. All right, I'm at 10 miles now on the dirt. And I pretty much have been standing the entire time. I can't tell you what a difference it makes after just being extremely uncomfortable standing, where like my legs are pushed out so far that I could barely do it, and versus being able to come back and do this is just fantastic. But at the same token, what I gain in standing, being able to stand, is now subtracted from being comfortable while I'm on the road. So you know, how do you play this? So what I'm just thinking is that if I'm looking at rides, you know, over 200 miles on road, then it's going to have to be the Pro Cycle seat, because that's where the comfort's at in regards to that. If it's maybe 250 or less with predominantly being on the dirt, then I'm gonna have to go with this seat. And it's really not a big deal to swap out seats on this motorcycle. It's just literally 4 screws. So that's not bad. And I haven't mentioned the price yet. I just got the seat from ProCycle, and I had it expedited shipping, a couple days. So out the door it was $420. That's a chunk of change, man, for a new saddle. But seats are incredibly important. I wasn't expecting, cruiser level comfort with either of the seats, the ProCycle or the Seat Concepts. But yeah, I mean, you just can't get both apparently. Maybe the Seat Concepts just standard seat. Now that'll still put you at the same height with the stock seat, which is the same with the ProCycle. They're all apparently the same height. I don't know, with the ProCycle seat, I feel like I'm a little high. I added inch risers on my new handlebars here, but I still feel like I'm leaning down on the bike when I'm on the seat. It's a high seat, which also adds to, the height of the bike. So I gotta admit, I like the low seat. I'm wondering now if I can call Seat Concepts and be like, hey man, can you guys shave off that that passenger bump and just make this an even seat? That would be ideal. We'll see. Okay, 13 miles on the dirt. Pretty much 98% of that was standing. Bueno. Yeah, fantastic. Just what I was looking for. I got a little more room now in the cockpit. Now that I got that tank bag pushed up, I could probably go a little farther too with the bag. And we'll see. I got 20 miles on the road back down to the house. So we'll see how this ride going back down is now that I got a little more space in front of me with that bag pushed up. Wow, this is so incredible being able to flat foot the bike though. it's a novelty, man. All right, 52 miles. What was that, 12 or 13 of that was on the dirt, pretty much standing. Ride back was uneventful. I had a little more room in the cockpit now that I had that bag pushed a little farther up, and it wasn't bad. 500 miles on the seat, yeah, probably going to be uncomfortable, but 500 miles on any seat is going to be uncomfortable, really. The seat pretty much did exactly what I thought it would do. I thought it would make standing on the dirt, or even, standing while riding at slower speeds here in town, comfortable, and that's exactly what it did. I knew that little bump back there, the passenger bump, I knew that would annoy me, and of course it did. I may call Seat Concepts to see if they could take the seat back and shave that bump off and make it just completely level. Maybe they'll do it, maybe they won't. Doesn't hurt to ask. But overall, the seat did exactly what I thought it would do. I'm pretty cramped, squished in. Riding, shifting's a little different. But I can also flat foot the bike now. I like that. And so the seat did everything I wanted it to do. I knew it wouldn't be comfortable on some aspects, but it is what it is. There's no perfect solution to this yet that I'm aware of, and I've checked, I've researched. So until there is, you got to do what you got to do. So I think this seat, like I mentioned, for specific rides where I intend to spend a majority of my riding off-road, this will be the seat. And if I want to do, big 500-mile days of just on-road, pushing out miles, I'll stick with the ProCycle seat. That's the plan. Seat swaps are easy, man. They don't take any time, really. So I think this seat will work. This will do exactly what I need it to do. So that's a good thing. That's worth the money to me, man. And I do spend a lot of time riding off-road, so the majority of that's going to be standing. If it's very uncomfortable to stand, then, you know, the seat's prohibited. So this is going to be a good thing for me. Good thing indeed. Alright, I'm going to do a follow-up video where I show this seat next to the Pro Cycle, next to the stock seat, next to the stock seat. So be sure to check that out. But yeah, this works out for me. We'll see how it does, like on a 200 to 300 mile ride. I already know what it's going to be like. So, but just like I mentioned, the fact that I can now stand up comfortably is a very big deal. So there's that. All right, folks, thanks for watching. I do have lots more content on the way. Appreciate you sticking around. Stay safe out there. We'll see you next time. D-Rock out. Adios.